This is Southern Cross News with Rachel Williams.
Good evening, everyone. The state government's controversial forestry legislation is expected to face its biggest test when it reaches the upper house this week. But with eyes still on this week's budget, Tasmania's peak tourism body has put its funding wish list on the table.
Counting his numbers and checking them twice, the Treasurer putting in the final touches for Thursday's budget.
And the centrepiece of this budget will be a jobs package to underpin and support the jobs for 7,600 young Tasmanians.
More than 20 funding promises have been made in the lead-up, totalling over $125 million. Tasmania's peak tourism body today pushing its $41 million wish list, with ageing tourism infrastructure a high priority.
We've got to grow demand to come into the state, so that means more flights and more market demand, more advertising to come into the state, and make sure that the infrastructure's here when people are here to have a great experience.
We've acknowledged the work that they've done, and we've worked with them to make sure that we can match that funding and find that in our alternative budget.
Meanwhile, the government's controversial forestry legislation is expected to be debated in the upper house this week. An interesting test for Labor following the election of the party's Sarah Lovell to the Legislative Council.
They can see fit to support this legislation, or they can try and block it. The test will be for them.
This bill doesn't have the support of the industry, so I think until the government consult more broadly and understand what the industry wants, we won't support this bill.
The Forest Industries Association Tasmania maintains the vast bulk of the industry strongly oppose the bill as it stands, while the specialty timbers sector supports the opening of reserved forests, claiming their voice wasn't heard during the Tasmanian Forestry Agreement in 2013.
You can't choose one part or one part of the industry over another, and that's what we're asking the upper house to do this week, is to actually consider the industry as a whole and not pick favourites, essentially.
Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
Thousands of keen athletes braved this morning's chilly temperatures, pounding the pavement for the 2017 City to Casino Fun Run. Winning wasn't on everyone's mind, the annual event allowing participants to reach their own personal goals.
Alert and raring to go, runners in the pack setting off to their destination 11 kilometres away. 18-year-old Miriam Dowie, the first woman to cross the line, with Ulverston Douglas Hammerlock claiming it for the men.
I've always wanted to, win a fun run, so it was a great goal, ticking it off the box.
To break it up a little in the winter, I decided to come down and have a run.
For many, it wasn't about the competition. 3-year-old Sam and her Teddy being pushed along by Dad, a thrill for both of them.
My third, and pushing the pram is the goal at the moment, just get her out and about. We might even run across the finish.
Fun and camaraderie, a big draw card for the athletes.
Bit of camaraderie, I know quite a few people here who are running, so yeah, it's good.
Running in a group, knowing so many people as well, I think, out on the course, high-fiving and that kind of thing.
Phil Menzies is blind, his guide dog Yoda by his side as he walked the 7-kilometre track. Mr Menzies has been a client of Guide Dogs Tasmania for the last 4 decades. This year he started fundraising for the organisation via an Everyday Hero account. Today's achievement contributing to his fundraising goal of $35,000.
I think it's just great to be able to give back to the organisation something that they've put a lot of time and money and effort in helping me over the years, and it's just good to give some back, some help.
Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
A 50-year-old woman has been identified as the victim of a fatal crash in the state's north yesterday afternoon. Police were called to Lilydale Road around 2:30 following a collision between a Kia Sorento station wagon and a Mazda sedan. Investigators believe the Mazda driver lost control in the wet weather. The woman died at the scene while the 28-year-old male driver avoided any serious injuries. Police are now appealing for witnesses as investigations continue. Smoking is the biggest cause of preventable death and disease in Tasmania, and our state has the highest rate of young male smokers in the country. A new Quit campaign is setting out to combat the alarming statistics.
Andrew Sculthorpe has a story common to many Tasmanians. He was only 12 years old and in high school when he started smoking.
I knew that smoking was bad for my health. Even when I was young, there was a lot of information about the effects of it. So it wasn't like I didn't know, but it was kind of just really accepting that. You know, I think it was so much part of my life.
It took 12 years and numerous tries to finally kick the habit. His motivation, his young family and the financial strain to his wallet.
Sort of chained to it, you're just dragging it around everywhere you go, it's in your mind. It's in your pocket, and you know, it's just a sort of a freedom from that.
If you were smoking a packet of cigarettes a day, you know, you could be saving over $7,000 a year, which is a huge amount of money that for you or your family can get other benefits from.
36% of young Tasmanian men are smokers, significantly more compared with the Australian average of 25%.
It is a concern when you think that 1 in 5 Tasmanians smokes, that's well over 70,000.
A new campaign, Quit Stalling, between Quit Tasmania and the Cancer Council, aims to empower young men in giving up or not starting in the first place.
You've got to keep trying. Sometimes it takes a bit of practice. But, you know, there's resources out there to help people, and that's what they're there for, and they're there for you. And so we've got Quitline and things like that.
Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
The Tasmanian Symphony Orchestra has hosted its annual general meeting today and finished the day on a high note. The organisation is celebrating a busy year following a successful tour of China in December and January.
Visitor numbers from China seem to be increasing dramatically here in Tasmania. Firstly, we want to fly the flag for Tasmania so that Chinese go, wow, we heard that orchestra, we want to go and see where it comes from.
The TSO has also reported having more subscribers since the tour. Tasmania is set to field its strongest team to date in the upcoming National Trampoline Gymnastics Championships. Final preparations are underway just a week out from the competition, with the state's elite vying for a spot on the Australian squad.
Bouncing high with goals even higher. Final preparations taking place just days out from the Australian National Championships. This year's squad the strongest yet.
Over the age groups and the international divisions, we have 45 competitors, up from about 30, 35 last year.
Jack Penny is one of 6 local stars vying for a position in the national squad. Next week's tournament is the first time trial for the 2017 World Championships in Bulgaria. The 2016 Olympic Shadow squad member watchful of upcoming interstate talent.
I've been competing with these guys for quite a long time, but we've got some really exciting new blood in the senior event. And they've sort of been bubbling away in the junior event, so it'll be interesting to see how they go this year.
We also have Matthew French and Amber French, who are working in the youth and junior divisions, as well as our junior state champion Patrick Schluter, who's doing some really great stuff, especially on the trampoline, and he's bouncing high.
The competition gets underway on Monday week at Melbourne's Hisense Arena. Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
A pitter-patter of paws has helped raise money for animal shelters across the state. The RSPCA's Million Paws Walk uniting thousands of Tasmanians and their loyal companions.
What a day for a walk. Canines converging at locations across the state for this much-loved fundraising event.
She loves being around other animals. She's a gentle soul.
She'd like to get off and have a good run around.
You might expect these greyhounds to be thinking the same thing. Surprisingly, not so.
They're very lazy, very slow. They'll only walk for about half an hour and then they want to lie down.
The rest raring to go. Thousands of dogs and their proud owners setting off for the RSPCA's major donations drawcard.
There's nothing better to make friends than having a dog at the end of a lead, is there?
Roaming in the pack, this suspicious Tasmanian tiger.
She's catching lots of people's attention. She knows it too. She's kind of got a strut on.
And one pooch preferring peace in a pram rather than paws on the pavement.
But of course the dog never gets any exercise, whereas we can never keep the baby in the pram. So, you know, amazing mixture.
For the RSPCA, all the money raised today goes towards running the 3 animal shelters around the state. But for dogs like Willow, it's about getting some exercise and making new friends. Dogs also descended on Sandy Bay. The RSPCA estimates $40,000 has been raised from the event. Last year, the organisation supported 10,000 animals in need across the state.
And we investigated 5,800 individual complaints of animal cruelty. So it's really important. Our organisation is really important to the community of Tasmania, and I think this is one way that the community can support us.
Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
Olympia is through to the final of the Lacka Seljack Cup. The Warriors defeating Hobart Zebras 2-0 at KG5. The side will face off against the Glenorchy Knights for the title on June 10. In the Seabull, and the Launceston Tornadoes staged a second-half comeback to beat Dandenong at Elphin Stadium. A tick of approval for new coach Richard Dickel. The win sends a strong message to the competition going forward.
The new coach had plenty to say after a slow start, staring down a 14-point deficit late in the second period. The Tawns were missing too many baskets and Dandenong made them pay. Their captain, Amy Clydesdale, kept the local crowd quiet with a dominant display. An excellent battle developed with opposite number Lauren Mansfield. The pair engaged in physical contests across the court. Clydesdale had her measure early on, but Mansfield really got the Tawns going. She set the tone in the second half and brought the side back from the brink to regain the lead late in the third period. From there, the Tawns showed season-best form. Mansfield scored 11 points and contributed 10 rebounds, while Taylor Roberts navigated a very tight defence, slamming home 24 points to help the side break away. Late in the piece, a desperate Dandenong called timeout, but all Richard Dickel demanded was to slow the play and hold possession. His words sunk in, players settled and the win was secured. Tawns 69, Dandenong 58. Launceston jumps to top of the table while Dandenong slips to third. Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
Good evening. Well, what a better day it was today. With some sustained rain this morning about the east. Decent falls too. In the 24 hours to 9 a.m, St Mary's 124 millimetres. Grey 118 millimetres. St Helens 102 with plenty of places near the 80 millimetres. Now, temperature-wise though, wasn't too bad. Hobart 15 degrees, 17 in Launceston, 16 along the northwest coast, 20 degrees was the state's top, and that was recorded at St Helens. We'd think it was summer almost. Low Head, Wynyard, Sheffield and Bruny Island all 16 degrees. 17 today at Scottsdale, Fingal and the Friendly Beaches and also the Bass Strait Islands. 15 at Stroyne and Maydena with 14 at Grove and also Ooze. Now the high def satellite sequence shows that cloud band that brought that rain. There it is, moving away from us. That's great news. There's a bit of cloud associated with an approaching cold front there entering the Bight, and that'll pass over Tassie on Tuesday. Now on the close-up, as we can see, plenty of cloud there over the west coast. The rest of the state, though, fairly clear. Now, on the tomorrow's chart, we can see a ridge of high pressure that'll bring settled conditions statewide with that cold front moving east in the Bight. Coastal waters and winds north to northwesterlies at 10 to 20 knots, so reaching 25 knots in the west, swells to 3 metres in the west and south. There is a minor flood warning for the south-esk around the Fingal area. A beautiful autumn day on the way for the south tomorrow. Hobart and Ooze, a sunny 19, Dover 18 degrees. Sunny in the north too, Launceston 19, Devonport and Scottsdale 17 degrees. A sunny day in the west, Burnie and Stanley 17. A beautiful day in Strawn, a great day for going down the Gordon, 19 degrees. A sunny day in the east too, St Helens and Swansea 19, Ross 17 degrees. Looking to Tuesday, well, it all ends. A front crosses the state and showers forecast statewide. Showers again statewide again on Wednesday, I told you, and showers everywhere but the east on Thursday. A beautiful day in Melbourne tomorrow, 20 degrees. Not too bad in Sydney, 22, and looks like a few showers forecast for Adelaide and Perth. Well, currently it's not bad around the place. 13 in Hobart, cloudy and 14 in Launceston, clear on the coast, 13 degrees. Nice day tomorrow, Rach, but it could all go proverbial there on Tuesday.
Thanks for that, Ken. Well, that's all your news for now. Thank you so much for your company. Have a great week. Good night.